welcome to the Daily Streak for Wednesday, May 23rd. I'm Jay Craney.
And I'm Steve DeBerry.
Let's get right into it. We've got four great matchups as always today to analyze. Our first one is the morning baseball prop. The ACC tournament getting underway with number 1 in the country, Florida State, against Georgia Tech. FSU for the prop has to win by 4 or more runs. Start us off.
It's a lot of runs. Four is a pretty big prop, one of the bigger props we've seen in baseball, and it's a little puzzling to me, and let me tell you why. Georgia Tech comes in a little bit over 500, 12-18 in the ACC this year. FSU was 24-6, so a big discrepancy there. The big thing with this game is Georgia Tech will be throwing the first-team All-ACC pitcher, Buck Farmer.
Old Bucky Farmer?
Old Bucky Farmer. He pitched against the Noles in their first game of the series that the Noles swept earlier this season, and Georgia Tech lost 2-1 in extra innings. Bucky Boy went 8 innings in that game, only gave up 1 earned run, so he pitched very well, and he pitched very well all year. He's also a projected first-round draft pick in the upcoming MLB draft. I don't care what college lineup you've got going up against someone. If they're going up against a first-rounder, it's not going to be a very high-scoring game. I think the Noles will pull it off, but if they get 4 runs, period, that'll be an accomplishment in itself. On the other side, FSU doesn't have their ace going. I think they're probably saving him for Clemson on Friday. And FSU's lost the opening game of the last 2 ACC tournaments. Still gone to the championship game, but they've lost the opening game of pool play. I'm going with Georgia Tech in this one, and with high confidence, I hate to say.
Yeah, I think you pulled out the main thing for this game is in Georgia Tech's throwing their ace, and Florida State's probably saving their ace for later in the tournament. So I think you really have to take that into account. The one time he did pitch, he went really deep into the game, gave up 1 run. You can't expect him to give up 4 runs, let alone FSU win by 4 runs, even though they can be explosive on offense. I think this is pretty clear. I mean, people will see that number 1 next to Florida State's name and maybe pick it just because of that. But I think AOR here is the real pick. I think that's pretty safe.
Well, before we move on, I'd like to ask: are you feeling dehydrated today?
No, actually, Steve, this is a gigantic bottle of straight gin.
Okay.
And it is red in honor of the Cincinnati Reds, who, as we've learned through our streaking, pick for them, pick against them, it doesn't matter. You're going to be seeing this color.
You're going to lose. You're going to see some red. All right, let's move on to some baseball. Let's go to
Thank you. More baseball.
Detroit Tigers at the Cleveland Indians. What are your thoughts on this one, Mr. Craney?
This is an interesting prop, too. I think this is going to be an interesting game to watch. Detroit is starting Dougie Fresh Fister, a man with a really, really good ERA so far, but has just gotten no run support from the Tigers. In the Tigers' last few games in which they have started a pitcher not named Justin Verlander, they're 2-9 in their last 11 where Verlander hasn't pitched. They just haven't shown up yet, and they were probably a little overrated from the start. The Indians, meanwhile, have been playing pretty solid baseball. Zach McAllister, who they are starting today, has only appeared in 3 games. Hasn't been great, but he's showing some improvement up there, and he's a huge dude. He is 6'6", 240. He's an intimidating factor on the mound. I think he might actually try out for a linebacker for the Browns in the fall with those stats. The pitching matchup, clear favorite for the Tigers. Everything else is saying Indians. I'm going Indians on this. They've won 6 of their last 8. I think they take another one here.
You know how I feel about stats, and I'm going to have to be honest. I got a little aroused when I heard that 2-9 stat.
Yes, you did.
Doug Fister is 0-2 this year in the 4 starts, the 1.59 ERA, like you point out. But in his last outing, he's gotten progressively worse as it goes with giving up hits. He gave up 9 hits in his last outing, which almost combined his first 3. He only given up like 12 combined. So he's gotten progressively worse. Zach, don't call me Kevin McAllister, will be starting for the Indians. He's allowed 4 runs in each of his 3 starts. But, like you said, Detroit hasn't been good when Verlander hasn't been going. Cleveland's been pretty good. Detroit's 4-6 in the last 10. That's against some pretty poor competition.
Yep, and I think 2 of those were Verlander. Probably.
Yeah, 2 of them were Verlander, so it just hasn't been good for them. I'm also going Cleveland.
Yeah, good call.
We were agreeing way too much lately.
Well, I think
we're
again,
not doing good, but
I think again the casual streaker will look at the pitching matchup and say, "Oh wow, look at that ERA, Tigers." But you look a little deeper here. I think the clear pick is the Indians. Whether it happens or not, it's baseball. Who knows? But that seems to be the clear pick. Let's move on to more baseball. We've got a specific prop for you right now. Will Cole Hamels record a strikeout in the first? What do you think?
I think I like Cole Hayes, the rookie Hamels.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's very animated.
Just plunk him.
Just plunk him. I think he's a very animated pitcher that pitches with a lot of confidence. He has 58 strikeouts this season so far in 54 innings of work, which says I'm getting a strikeout every inning. It also, in baseball, we know that hitters take a little while to get comfortable, and by the 5th, 6th, 7th inning, when they're seeing the pitcher for the 3rd time, 2nd, 3rd, 4th time, that's when they start to hit him. So the early inning prop favors Cole Hamels, and the fact that he's got more strikeouts than he's pitched in innings, the statistics favor Cole Hamels. I'm going yes in this one. I like Cole Hamels to get a strikeout in the top of the first.
It's extremely risky. It's always risky to pick a matchup or a prop that can happen on a swing of the bat or two. Like this is 1 inning. This prop's going to last 5 or 6 minutes maybe. So it's always risky, but you have to go with yes here. I mean, in every start Hamels has had this year, he has had a strikeout in the first inning. Every single time. I don't know why you would pick no in this one. He's at home. You'd be stupid to pick no, I'll be honest with you. But
you're probably secret.
Yeah. But again, it's a half inning prop. I mean, these 3 guys, ground out, pop out, fly out, you get red if you pick yes. So I think you have to pick yes, but again, I would not put a streak on this. I mean, those stats are clearly in favor of yes, but I would stay away from this if you have less than a 5. I mean, it's getting late in the month, but still, pick something else.
The other thing that favors yes in here is there has to be 3 outs some way, somehow, right? The other team can score 19 runs in the first inning, and then he can get a strikeout. So he's got to get 3 outs some way or another.
Right.
I'd say as long as someone doesn't get walked and then they hit to a double play where they plunk out 2 outs in one sequence, it's a good chance he's going to get a strikeout.
And like you said, he's a strikeout machine. He's not a ground ball pitcher. He strikes out a lot of pitchers.
Yeah. All right, well, our last matchup of the day that we are going to talk about is the Celtics at the Philadelphia Sixers. Another really entertaining series in the somewhat lowly Eastern Conference now. It didn't look that way at the beginning of the season, but as we get further into the playoffs, they're looking like the punching bag to whoever makes it in the Western Conference. But
I wouldn't go that far with the Heat, but for the most part, yeah.
Who do you got in this one?
Well, you said it a couple episodes ago where I'm not sure if it was this exact matchup, but you said the green will rise to the top, and I think it was this matchup. And
are you quoting me? I'm flattered.
Yes, our own Steve DeBerry. I should put the quote on the wall above the TV there.
Is it hanging in your room?
It is. I hit it before every show now.
That's awesome.
Cream will rise to the top. The 76ers are an impressive 4-0 this postseason after a loss, so they have a great ability to bounce back, but they were also playing a Bulls team in the first round with like 48 injuries. Mm-hmm. So you've got to take that into account. Plus, the Celtics have pretty much owned them in the last 3 games. They blew them out in Philly. They were in the process of blowing them out in Philly in Game 4 and blew an 18-point lead, and then they blew them out again in Game 5. The Celtics will not let that happen again. Bye-bye, Sixers.
The Celtics have taken control of this series. They are winning with defense. They look great. They look fresh. I really like the way they're playing. Rondo has been phenomenal. It's been a great run for the 76ers, but it's going to end sometime. But it's not going to end in Philadelphia.
Oh,
it's not going to end
just
tonight.
absurd. I'm going to take a huge sip of this.
Yeah, it's not going to end tonight. It's going to end in Boston. But the 76ers are going to come out with some fire. This is a real gut pick. they've been getting knocked around, and I believe the comments made by Kevin Garnett at the end of last game is really going to fire up not only the 76ers, but that whole arena. And I think it's going to be a group effort by the city of Philadelphia to take down Boston and force a Game 7.
All right. There you have it, folks. By the way, I'd like to congratulate the Los Angeles Kings on making the Stanley Cup final. Good work, boys.
Yeah.
That was also a gut pick of Steve DeBerry's on the last show. So let's roll with that if you want to. We will be right back with Charles's lock of the day. Let's get that guy some green. Welcome back. It's time for Charles's pick of the day. Steve, who will Charles be choosing?
Well, as everyone knows, this is a matchup that we can't figure out. It's the Atlanta Braves at the Cincinnati Reds. When we pick for the Reds, they lose. We pick against them, they win. Charles, with his superior picking skills, we're hoping can figure this matchup out. Charles, what do you got for us?
It's time for our locks of the day. Steve, let's start off with Chris DeBerry. Who is Chris locking in today?
Chris is getting back on the soccer train. He's
Good.
throwing a little MLS evening action in prime time. We have the San Jose Earthquakes at the LA Galaxy. San Jose's got the win draw option. He likes San Jose now.
Okay. Well, good luck to that. To all the 17 fans going to that game, be safe and have fun.
We could make it 18 and 19.
Yes, we could, but we're not going to.
All right. Also, this is a tough one for me. It pains me to say this, but I'm going against the FSU, the Florida State Seminoles.
Oh.
Going against them with my lock. I like the any other result with the Georgia Tech. It's a pretty safe pick when you got a first-round draft pick on the mound. So I'm getting my lock out of the way early today. Go with that any other result in the Florida State Georgia Tech game.
Completely agree with that. I just don't like it.
I don't know. I don't either. I don't either.
All right. Well, you're gonna love my lock today.
What?
My lock is the Boston Celtics. Oh yes. I don't care that they're in Philly. I don't care about Garnett's comments. I don't care about the crowd being fired up. Boston owned Game 3. They owned almost all of Game 4 in Philly until they collapsed late. But how did they bounce back from a collapse? They owned them in Game 5. They will own them again in Game 6 in Philly. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but the Celtics will come out on top. Lock it in.
All right, well, good luck with that one.
Thanks. Hopefully I can turn this around because I'm seeing a lot of this lately. Join us tomorrow on The Streak for our Thursday edition of The Streak. Good luck out there. Hope you guys are getting some W's.